Gospel according to John chapter 9 verse 1 to 41. As Jesus walked along, he saw a man who had been blind from birth. His disciples asked him, "Master, why was this man born blind? Because of his own sins or those of his parents?" Jesus answered, "Neither his own sins nor those of his parents. He was born blind so that God's work might be revealed in him. While it is day, we must do the work of the one who sent me, for the night will come when no one can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world." As Jesus said this, he spat on the ground and made clay with the spittle and rubbed it on the eyes of the blind man. Then he said, "Go and wash in the pool of Siloam." This name means sent. So he went and washed and came back able to see. His neighbors and all the people who used to see him begging said, "Is not this the man who used to sit here and beg?" Some said, "It is the one." Others said, "No, but he looks like him." But the man himself said, "I am the one." Then they asked, "How is it that your eyes were opened?" And he answered, "The man called Jesus made clay and put it on my eyes and said to me, 'Go to Siloam and wash.' So I went and washed, and then I could see." They asked, "Where is he?" The man answered, "I do not know." The people brought to the Pharisees the man who had been blind. Now it was a Sabbath day when Jesus made clay and opened his eyes. So the Pharisees asked him again, "How did you recover your sight?" And he said once more, "He put clay on my eyes, and I washed, and now I see." Some of the Pharisees said, "This man is not from God, for he works on the Sabbath." But others wondered, "How can a sinner perform such miraculous signs?" So they were divided. And they questioned the blind man again, "What do you think of this man who opened your eyes?" And he answered, "He is a prophet." After all this, the Jews refused to believe that the man had been blind and had recovered his sight. So they called his parents and asked them, "Is this your son? You say that he was born blind. How is it that he now sees?" The parents answered, "We know he is our son, and we know he was born blind. But how it is that he now sees, we do not know. Neither do we know who opened his eyes. Ask him, he is old enough, let him speak for himself." The parents said this because they feared the Jews, who had already agreed that whoever confessed Jesus to be the Messiah was to be put out of the synagogue. That is why his parents said, "He is old enough, ask him." So the second time the Pharisees called the man who had been blind, and they said to him, "Give God the praise. We know that this man is a sinner." He replied, "I do not know whether he is a sinner or not. I only know that I was blind and now I see." They said to him, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?" He replied, "I have told you already and you would not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciples?" Then they started abusing him. "You are that fellow's disciple, but we are disciples of Moses. We know that God has spoken to Moses, but as for this man, we do not know where he comes from." The man replied, "It is amazing that you do not know where the man comes from, and yet he has opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners, but if anyone honors God and does his will, God listens to him. Never since the world began has it been heard that anyone opened the eyes of a person who was born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing." They answered him, "You were born a sinner, and you teach us." And they threw him out. Jesus heard that they had driven him out. He found him and said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" He answered, "Who is he, sir? Tell me, so I can believe in him." Jesus said, "You have seen him, and he is speaking to you." He said, "Lord, I believe," and fell on his knees in worship. Jesus said, "I came into this world to judge, so that those who do not see shall see, and those who see shall become blind." Some Pharisees who stood by him heard this and asked him, "So we are blind?" And Jesus answered, "If you were blind, you would not be guilty. Now that you claim, 'We see,' your guilt remains." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.